That was Vestal Goodman singing God Bless America. It's 10 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. Our VBS director that was with us yesterday for Calvary Baptist probably likes that version of God Bless America. We were talking after the interview that we had around 7:30 yesterday morning about music styles and what she likes versus what I like. And I think Vestal Goodman singing God Bless America fits right into her musical wheelhouse. Patty, there you go. We are in the second chapter of Second Chronicles, and we're just ready to go. We're just ready to hit it this morning. It is Friday, meaning our teaching is abbreviated on Fridays. We finish a few minutes before 7 o'clock because... why? Oh, yeah, because during the 7 o'clock hour, I knew there was a reason. I knew there was a reason why I was doing it. During the 7 o'clock hour, we have, what do we have during the 7 o'clock? Oh, yeah, Sunday sermon. Yes, I am having a hard time concentrating. Let's go straight into the scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. This morning, Second Chronicles chapter 2 is where we are at this morning on this cloudy Friday morning here in Las Vegas, New Mexico. How's the weather out where you are at on the Facebook, YouTube world? But who is able to build him a temple, since heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain him? Very interesting perspective from Solomon. Solomon knows that this God is a little bit bigger than a temple or a country or a planet or a galaxy. This God. And did you listen to Mr. Missler talking about the galaxies yesterday? He's going to give us a little bit more astronomy on today's program. But always something besides the great Bible teaching that Chuck Missler has. A lot of other information that he throws in there to build his case. He's like a teaching archaeologist, coming in with all kinds of stuff from all over the place, uncovering truth and putting it with the Bible. But that comes on at 8:30 this morning here on 95.7. Who is able to build him a temple? Wow, we got gold, silver, precious stones, we have bronze, we have iron, we have cedar, we have all kinds of stuff and workers and everything ready, but it's just a little footstool for the Lord is all it is. Because our God is bigger than a building. Church is not about a building, church is about a people. Temple was pretty much the same way. It's about a people that God wants to live amongst. God wants to there. And he says, yeah, build me this little apartment. Build me this little B&B. And I will deposit my Shekinah glory there. And I will be amongst you, my people, Israel, who are in covenant with me. Who is able to build him a temple? Since heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain him. Who am I then that I should build him a temple except to burn sacrifice before him? And what we're going to do is we're going to worship him. This is going to be the place that we are going to worship him. This is the place that we are going to connect with this omnipresent God, all-knowing, all-loving, all-present, and we are going to connect with him, and we are going to worship him. They have left the tabernacle of Moses, talking about Solomon and the elders, and now it's time to get to work. Now it's time to roll up their sleeves, take out the shovel, somebody get on the excavator, and let's start working. We're going to build him a temple. David had already set everything up. We've been talking about this for weeks. David had set everything up. Now it was time. Therefore, and this is about where we left off yesterday, therefore send me at once a man skillful to work in gold and silver, in bronze and iron, in purple, crimson, and blue, who has skill to engrave with skillful men who are with me in Judah and Jerusalem, whom David my father provided. So Solomon wrote a letter to Hiram, the king of Tyre, and says, I need somebody that has these special skills. Do you know anybody? Send me at once a skillful man. I was looking at Exodus chapter 31 this morning. In Exodus chapter 31, is it okay if I go there real quick? Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, See, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. I have filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, to do artistic design, to work in gold, silver, bronze, cutting jewels, setting and carving wood, and to work in all manner of workmanship. This is very close. It's a parallel of the request that Solomon is asking hundreds of years later. Let's find out how many years later, at least an estimation there. Okay, so Exodus chapter 31 was about BC 1491. We'll just call it 1500 for sake of the math. And then we get here to 2 Chronicles chapter 2, about 500 years later. 400 and change. Sure would have been nice if Bezalel would have been around. But just maybe Hiram has someone in Tyre who is able. Tyre, very successful. We talk about Tyre a lot in the Bible. We see them out there on the coast of the Mediterranean. It was a very established port. It was a place where many of the ships came in trading from different areas of the globe, that they would come in and they would bring their wares and take them into that part of the world. Tyre was that place, very successful. And the king of Tyre had a good relationship with David. And Solomon is saying, how about you and I? Are we still on the same page like you? Yeah. He says, send me at once a skillful man. Do you have somebody? I have all of this material. I have the workmen. I have the money. I have the backing of the people. We have the property. We have everything set up. I just need that one guy. That one guy who's going to carve all of the gold. He's not going to carve all of the gold, the silver, the bronze, the wood, the wood. What he's going to do is he's probably going to have a community college there, and they're going to start teaching these people how it's done. The job is huge. But you're looking at it from the eyes of God, it's just a tiny little job. But you look at it from the perspective from earth, it's a huge job. I mean, tons of gold is what the Message Bible is telling us that it is. So send me a guy like Bezalel. Also, send me cedar and cypress and algum logs from Lebanon. For I know that your servants have skill to cut timber in Lebanon, and indeed my servants will be with your servants. And we all know about the cedars of Lebanon because we've been reading them in the Bible for years. And we know that the forests in Lebanon had that particular wood that was very, very famous, popular in those days. Verse 9 says, to prepare timber for me in abundance, for the temple which I'm about to build shall be great and wonderful. I wonder what the price of 2x4s were in Solomon's day compared to what they are today. All you have to do is go out and get sticker shock when you go to the lumber yard. Here's something, just a side note. Going to be people are going to have to rebuild their houses, and they're going to find out that, maybe some of the insurance money or other monies that might be coming in are not going to be adequate to. That's just a side note over there. But we're talking about the price of lumber in Solomon's time is what we're talking about. Well, there's going to be a price. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 says, indeed, I will give to your servants, the woodsmen who cut timber, 20,000 cores of ground wheat, 20,000 cores of barley, 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of oil. So he says, here's my price. I'm making you an offer. Let's see what the message tells us cores and baths are. See if they give us. I'll provide all the food necessary for your crew of lumberjacks and loggers, 130,000 bushels of wheat. Now, this was actually going to be flour because didn't it say ground wheat? Let's see, wheat. What happened to the barley? There was barley in the King James Version. 120,000 gallons of wine, 120,000 gallons of olive oil. Get the fry baby ready because we're going to be needing it. We're going to be using it. Back to the New King James. He says, I will give to your servants the woodsmen who cut the timber. Then Hiram, king of Tyre, answered in writing, which he sent to Solomon, because the Lord loves his people, he has made you king over them. Oh, that's a great compliment. I guess Hiram wants to be buddies with Solomon like he was with his father David. Hiram also said, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who made heaven and earth. Well, Tyre isn't a city under the covenant. But this Hiram dude, he knows Yahweh. He uses that name. Blessed be the Lord. Let's see what that message is all about. You know, it's not every day that you get a... Okay, so that's, I see it now. Thank you for letting me know. Hiram said, blessed be Yahweh, God of Israel. Not just any God. This is just any, well, let's see, the generic name. No, he knows Yahweh. Maybe David had told him, do you know that God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life? Oh, yeah, tell me more. I'm a whomsoever. Blessed be Yahweh, God of Israel. Verse 12, who made heaven and earth. He has given King David a wise son, endowed with prudence and understanding, who will build a temple for the Lord Yahweh. See, Lord, all caps. New King James Bible and a lot of your other English Bibles is the Tetragrammaton YHWH. Not sure which vowels fit in between those consonants, so they say Yahweh or German Jehovah. That's where same word, same name, Jehovah and Yahweh and Yehovah, and nobody knows how it's supposed to be pronounced. Moses did. Hiram did. And now, I'm just messing. Okay. And now I have sent a skillful man, endowed. Good morning, Mike and Kareen. Good morning, Andrea and Tommy. Now I have sent a skillful man. We have a replacement for Moses' guy. From 450 years ago, I have sent a skillful man endowed with understanding, Huram, my master craftsman. So it's Huram now is going to be the guy that's going to be given the classes on gold, silver, wood, carving, casting, all of those. Huram's the guy. Notice this. We're not going to go back to book of Exodus that we were looking at a while ago, but notice this. Bezalel and Huram both are going to help in the temple. Where did they acquire these skills? Let's look at Bezalel. He acquired the skills in Egypt. He is a Hebrew, and he comes out with Moses, passed through the Red Sea, come to Mount Sinai, but he is using the skills that he learned in Egypt. He had to do that for the Egyptians. That was his skill set that he had learned from the. Do you realize that God can use your skill set? Maybe the things that you are doing right now or that you have done in the past, some of the jobs that you've done, some of the skills that you've acquired, God can use it for the kingdom. Here is Huram. And you say, yeah, but he's from Tyre. Yeah, but his mom was from Israel. Huram, my master craftsman, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan, and his father was a man of Tyre. So let's look at here, since I'm in one of these moods this morning. Let's look at where Dan is at. Okay, here's the city of Dan, right way high up over there. So apparently, Huram, who comes from Tyre over here, you see that little pointer that I have on the Facebook and YouTube channel? See that? There's Tyre on the coast. Here's the town of Dan over here. Apparently, they probably met at a dance somewhere in Naphtali or in Asher or something like that. I don't know how these things happen. But he is from Tyre. She is from Dan. And so he is... father from Tyre, half Hebrew. I don't know if that's the right word of saying it or not. I reluctantly say that. But the son of a woman, the daughters of Dan. His father was a man of Tyre, skilled to work in gold and silver, bronze and iron. See, there's a connection that he has to the covenant people through his mother. And God we got to get Huram ready. He's 5 years old. We got to teach him, because one of these days he's going to go. Well, maybe his mom prophesied over him, says, son, one of these days you're going to help our people out. But I don't think very many people, if anybody, knew that Huram and the things he was going to learn was going to bring him up to this point to help build a house for God. The son of a woman of the daughters of Dan. You say, well, all I am is just XYZ. All I've done is just pull wire. I just a plumber. Not just that. God has a purpose for who you are. What you can do, God has a purpose for you, and he can use your skill set in the kingdom. Listen to this. We have ministries that are coming in. I have talked to Baptist ministries. I've talked to others that come out of other disasters, chefs. People. There's people that are going to be coming, and Samaritan's Purse is going to come in and be stationed there at Calvary Chapel real soon, and they are going to bring people who are going to help clean up people's areas after the fire. They're going to be driving heavy equipment, wearing those hazmat suits, sifting through ashes, trying to help people find their valuables and at the same time keep everybody safe. What is that? That's using the skill set that they probably used in the world. And now they're using it to help people, to let that person know that there is a king in heaven who cares about them. And Huram was one of them. Bezalel was another one. Huram was skilled to work in gold, silver, bronze, iron, stone, wood, purple, blue, fine linen, and crimson, to make any engraving and to accomplish any plan which may given to him. I mean, Huram comes highly, highly, highly recommended by the king of Tyre. He can do anything you want him to do. To make any engraving, to accomplish any plan. Just give them the plans, man. Just all that they were going to have to do. Give them the vision. The vision was going to be in the plan. Oops, we're way past. We're going to be late on that weather report, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Got a little excited about Huram. 33 minutes after the hour, Don Pothra singing Before the Throne of God of Love. Time for a late weather report. Partly cloudy today. 30% chance of scattered thunderstorms. High around 79. South wind 7 to 19. Gusts up to 28 miles per hour. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. High around 86, windy with a west-southwest wind 6 to 20 tomorrow, gusts up to 28. And on Sunday, partly cloudy, high around 87, west-northwest wind 8 to 21, gusts up to 29 miles per hour. Time for us to get back into our study for today, and we are in, as you see on the screen, if you're with us on Facebook and YouTube, you'll see us in 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Let me take that one off, and then let me put that one on. Now, therefore, the wheat, the barley, the oil, and the wine which my Lord has spoken of, let him send it to his servants. He says, put the check in the mail and we'll start working. Yeah. Well, we're going to send you all these bushels, cores, I guess, was the name that they were giving. And he says, yeah, send it, man. Send it. We'll start working. This is a COD. You're on COD. Now, therefore, well, that's the way I get it, you know. Hiram says, now, therefore, the wheat, the barley, the oil, the wine which my Lord has spoken of, let him send it to his servants. We will cut wood from Lebanon. As much as you need, we will bring it to you in rafts by sea to Joppa, and you will carry it up to Jerusalem. I think this is a good time to go back to our map. Here is Tyre, okay? Here's Lebanon, where the forests are way high up on the top of our map. And he says those workmen will bring down the lumber, and they will float it along the Mediterranean coast all the way to Joppa. And he says, you meet us there at Joppa, and from there, at that port, you can bring it into Jerusalem, and you can start doing the work and do whatever you want to do with it after that. But let's talk about wheat, barley, oil, and wine. Then Solomon numbered all the aliens who were in the land of Israel, after the census in which David his father had numbered them. And there were found to be 153,600. The census which David's father had numbered them. Well, I guess if we're alluding to that mistake that David made somewhere down the line, at least it's useful with the numbers. The Solomon numbered all the aliens who were in the land of Israel after the census in which David his father had numbered them. There were found to be 153,600. And he made 70,000 of them bearers of burdens, 80,000 stone cutters in the mountains, 3,600 overseers to make the people work. Got to have some managers. Got to have some people to keep everybody on task. Oh, Andrea says, Huram from Dan to execute the plan. Now she's a psalmist. Huh? And Joe is happy over there in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Him and Flo, I think they had a birthday dinner for Flo. But Joe says, yeah, I can use I use my talents for the kingdom of God all the time. Does some great work. Verse 1, chapter 3. Now Solomon began to build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where the Lord had appeared to his father David at the place that David had prepared the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. You remember, okay, we're talking about at last chapter about the census that David had made. There was a time that David made a census, and Joab was not real happy about it, but neither was God. And God had sent the avenging angel, and he had met David right there on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And that's where the mercy of God was displayed. This is where the temple is going to be built. You talk now, you hear about it in the news all the time. This is the Temple Mount. You can go to Israel now, and on particular days, you could get in, go see the Wailing Wall, be in that big old courtyard that's there, and even walk up the steps to where the Dome of the Rock is. It's not Solomon's temple. It's where the Muslims have one of their 3 holy sites of the world. That is the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build on the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. Yeah, you're right. 80,000 aliens were going to be cut in stone out in the mountains. It is a big project because the stones are going to be huge. I should have pulled up that YouTube for you so you could see. I mean, I would do it just because, but there's nothing like being there, putting your hand on those monster stones that they have out there. These are not just, a few rocks in the back of a pickup truck, ladies and gentlemen. These are stones that they were going to cut, some of them bigger than a school bus. This is the foundation which Solomon laid for building the house of God. You can have a plan. You can have a vision. You can have a dream. But sooner or later, at the right time, here we are at the right time. It's time to put everything together. I mean, it's nice to say, there's the gold in that warehouse, the silver in that warehouse. Look at out there in the yard. There's all the lumber and everything that we need. Oh, yeah. But sooner or later, you got to start connecting the dots together. Now is the time. This is the appointed time. A lot of work has come up to this time, and there's going to be a purpose for this building, and it's going to continue for 400 years. Because one of these days, the Babylonians were going to come and they were going to tear it down. The sad thing was that the mindset of the religious people, when the Babylonians were going to show up, was that, oh no, we can get away with our sin, and we can hide behind the tabernacle, the temple of Solomon, because there's no way that God's going to allow his house to be destroyed. All it was just the house, the temple of Solomon was for the people more than it was for God. And they thought, well, we can hide behind it, and we can do whatever we want to do, and just get away with all kinds of murder. God was going to allow the Babylonians to tear it down. And then the Romans were going to, when they rebuilt it, Romans were going to come 100 years later and do it again. This is the foundation which Solomon laid for building the house of God. Its length was 60 cubits by cubits according to the former measure, with the width of the cubit. Now let's see, for those people that are on our video screen, let me see if I can pull off something for you. Let me do this first as I read. I'm gonna kind of see if I can pull this off for you here a little bit, and I'm going to put play. This is a 3-minute video from YouTube that I'm going to play while we read some of these verses from the 3rd chapter of 2nd Chronicles, if you don't mind. See that there? It says, he began to build on the 2nd day of the 2nd month in the 4th year of his reign. This is the foundation which Solomon laid for building the house of God. The length was 60 cubits by cubits according to the former measure, and the width 20 cubits. The vestibule that was in front of the sanctuary was 20 cubits long across the width of the house, and the height was 120. He overlaid the inside with pure gold. The larger room he paneled with cypress, which he had overlaid with fine gold, and he carved palm trees and chainwork on it. He decorated the house with precious stones for beauty, and the gold was gold from Parvaim. He also overlaid the house, the beams, the doorposts, its walls and doors with gold, and he carved cherubim on the walls. And he made the most holy place. Its length was according to the width of the house, 20 cubits, and its width 20 cubits. He overlaid it with 600 talents of fine gold. The weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold, and he overlaid the upper area with gold. In the most holy place, he made 2 cherubim, fashioned by carving and overlaid them with gold. The wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits in overall length. One wing of the cherub was 5 cubits, touching the wall of the room, and the other wing was 5 cubits, touching the wing of the other cherub. One wing of the cherub was 5 cubits, touching the wall of the room. The other wing was also 5 cubits, touching the wing of the other cherub. The wings of these cherubim spanned 20 cubits over all. They stood on their feet, and they faced inward. And he made a veil of blue, purple, crimson, and fine linen, and wove the cherubim into it. He also made in front of the temple 2 pillars, 35 cubits high, and the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. He made wreaths of chainwork as in the inner sanctuary and put them on top of the pillars. He made 100 pomegranates and put them on the wreath of chainworks. He set up the pillars before the temple on the right hand of on the other left. He set up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left. He called the name of one on the right Jachin, and the name of the one on the left Boaz. So these, and that, according to what we're reading there, the Bible said that they were facing each other. We just read that. Okay, so if you were looking there on it, you see that was just somebody put together a 3D YouTube facsimile of what it could have been like. In fact, let me see if I can pull that. See the 2 pillars that it was talking about there in the front. And there's a lot of these videos on the internet, kind of give you an idea what the whole thing, what the temple could have looked like, kind of give you a little bit more. So what is the name of this? Let me see if I can find the name of this one for you. Hello? Solomon's Temple 3D is what the title of that vid was. Not even 4 minutes long or something like it. But that's what you see in the 3rd chapter. In the 3rd chapter, it started talking about it, and it gives you somewhat of an idea of what it could have looked like. Verse 4 says, chapter 3, the vestibule was in front of the sanctuary. That isn't actually part of, you have your sanctuary, the holy place, and then you have your Holy of Holies. You have that part of the building. All the other things were add-ons to that main. The main building which was 20 cubits wide, which is about 30 feet wide, okay? That the main building was 20 cubits wide. The foundation that Solomon laid for the building of the house was 60 cubits by cubits according to the former measure, and the width was 20 cubits. So the actual holy place and Holy of Holies, the temple itself, was 90 by 30. Cubits being about 18 inches. People argue about that. It's easier just to keep it at 18, 1.5 feet, and we can do the math most of the time fairly easy. Verse 4, the vestibule that was in front of the sanctuary was 20 cubits long across the width of the house. The height was 120. He overlaid the inside with gold. This was the entry, the vestibule. When you went into the vestibule, you weren't into the holy place yet. You still had to go through another. But there it was, 20 cubits wide, as wide as the building was, and 120 cubits tall. That's a lot of cubits, my brothers and sisters. That's 180 feet high. That's 18 stories. He overlaid the inside with gold. The larger room, he paneled with cypress, which he overlaid with fine gold, and he carved palm trees and chainwork on it. The larger room, probably, and I'm almost sure, it is the holy place. He decorated the house with precious stones for beauty, and the gold was the gold from Parvaim. And Hunan is teaching all of these people, and he has the plans. He can read them, he can get them accomplished, and he has all these people that are helping him with the wood, the gold, the construction that they're doing. He overlaid the house, the beams, the doorposts, its walls and doors with gold, and he carved cherubim on the walls. Now, I can't say that I have ever done much with gold, okay? But it is something that you can get real gold, not painted, and have it like aluminum foil. Foiling is what they call it, and you can really press it out thin and get a lot of mileage out of a few tons of gold. He made the most holy place. Its length was according to the width of the house, 20 cubits. Its width, 20 cubits, so it's 30 by 30. He overlaid it with 600 talents of fine gold. That was the main room. That was where the presence was at. That's where the ark was at, is in the most holy place. There's a description here. The weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold. He overlaid the upper area with gold. Even talking about the nails that were of gold. In the most holy place, he made 2 cherubim fashioned by carving and overlaid them with gold. So, those angelic type beings, carved them, overlaid them with gold. The wings of the cherubim were 20 cubits in length overall. One wing of the cherub was 5 cubits, touching the wall of the room. The other wing was 5 cubits, touching the wing of the other cherub. One wing of the other cherub was 5 cubits, so each one had these wings on them, and they totaled 20 cubits, which is 30 feet, and they went from wall to wall, the wings. And the wings overshadowed the ark. The wings of these cherubim, verse 13, spanned 20 cubits overall. They stood on their feet, and they faced inward. So that's where we can say, okay, Solomon's Temple 3D, how come you have them looking out instead of looking at each other? And he made the veil of blue, purple, crimson, and fine linen, and wove cherubim into it. The veil was going to be the partition between the holy place and the most holy place. It was going to be like a curtain, but it was not going to be just something that was going to blow in the wind. If I have heard this before and I'm correct, it was about 4 inches. It was a weaving that was about 4 inches thick. It was a wall that was made from a material that had been woven together. Yeah, that one. He made a veil of blue, purple, crimson, and fine linen, and wove cherubim into it. He also made in front of the temple 2 pillars, 35 cubits high, and the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. The front of the temple, the 35 cubits high. Now you're doing in odd numbers, so I got to do half of 35 and then cut it in half. Let's see what the message has for us. Each was 52 feet tall. Their capitals extending another 7.5 feet. So that pretty much completes about 60 foot high, including the capitals, including the tops of these pillars that were there. The top of each pillar was set off with an elaborate filigree of chains, like necklaces from which hung 100 pomegranates. So all these borders and all this intricate work that was all around. And you can probably find a YouTube that talks about these, and it gives you somewhat of an idea of what they might have looked like. An elaborate filigree of chains is what the message says. Let's see what the New King James says. When it comes down to the 16th verse, it says, he made wreaths of chain work, as in the inner sanctuary, put them on top of the pillars. He made 100 pomegranates and put them on the wreaths of the chain work. These were the pomegranates. They weren't real pomegranates. Okay, I thought at one time that they were, but they were just fashioned after. He set up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand and the other on the left. So those are the pillars that were right there up in front. And if I didn't, yep, I did close it off, so I can't go back there. We will go back here. And I was going to see if we could get somewhat of an idea of what the pillars look like. And here it is. Verse 17, he set up the pillars before the temple, one on the right hand, the other on the left. He called the name of the one on the right hand Jachin, and the name of the one on the left Boaz. Now, I'm not sure. I can't really tell you. I don't have any real understanding of what the names that were put in there for these pillars that were there. Maybe that's your homework for this week, is that you can try to find out. Say, well, what was all them? What was Jachin? Who is Boaz? Wasn't Boaz David's father or David's grandfather or something like that? If I remember, that name Boaz sounds pretty familiar. Anyway, that's it for today. We will be back in chapter 4 on Monday's program. God bless you all. Have a great weekend. This is Catherine Scott.
Peace as elusive as a shadow.